So before going to render that single page scenario, I think it's better to create our footer here. As you see, the footer also providing a pretty good merge and larger scale here. As you see, it's defined in perfectly structured way. So to generate that one, I believe we need to go in the footer component here. In the footer should be two separate components need to be rendered all together. So one, it will be the footer top, right? So that's the footer, and here we're gonna, instead of this portion here, we can entirely make it like, if we go right now, you see that top layer. I think we can go, because this footer is not happily be programmatically be to generate on that portion. Okay, we can go that. So first we're gonna make a separate component. I'm gonna close others, and from here we're gonna create a single component which will be, say, footer top.tsx or fce. So the footer top component would be rendered from these purposes, so it should be footer top. So now you can see a footer top component render. So at the footer top we can pass some value by which it gonna generate the actual ratio. So to do that, in the footer top we can make that things looks in a better way, or pretty much I think here, instead of this portion, we can now, I think we'll go in that way. That will make sense here. So the both, it will be perfectly aligned. And for this parameter here, let's put a class name. bj should be white, and also I'm gonna make a border should be top, so a top line border should be appeared. And now we're gonna render the other properties. So in that footer top, what it gonna do, it gonna having some variance or of that, like I think also we can keep that one at here, it looks better. So we should have 4 separate, like visit us, call us, working hours, and email us parameter. And to do that, we will create one array with that properties. So first let's just see how we can render. Either we can render a component, or we can, I think we will just create a data, right? So should be, let's say we will create a data property here. So at the top we're gonna make a const should be data. The data should be, let's say, contact data from properties. We will just define, we'll do in a similar separate way, should be passing at props. In the props we're gonna pass the title, should be a string, and also you're gonna pass the subtitle, which also going to be a string. And then we're gonna pass the icon, which going to be, let's say, react not. So that's the way it's gonna render the icon. So for there we're gonna make that property as to be defined as a props, which will be as an array of props. And here we're gonna now pass the value. First we're gonna pass the first one, should be the title, and the first one title should be visit us. Okay. Okay, what's wrong here? String is missing. Why? The title, we are providing the title. Okay, we will also pass the subtitle, because all need to be provided. Should be New Orleans, USA. And after that we need to pass the icon, which going to, we will pass a icon which will be map icon, map I think map pin. Yes, that's the icon need to be there. And we're going to put a class name. We will provide like a text gray of 600 for the icon. And whenever we group, like hover on the group hover, text should be, let's say, dark color. And also we will make the transition only in colors. Okay. So I think that will be duration. I think that can save the purpose, you see. Yeah, only the color effect is going on. I think it's just, yeah, not bad. So right now this, I have only one data. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just copy it several times. So that's the one, I should have 4, 2, 3, 4. And first one is the visit us. Second one, it should be, let's say, call us. And for the call we need to pass a number. I'm gonna just go passing a dummy number, and let's say a dummy number. And instead of map pin, it should be taking the phone icon. Why I'm doing that here? I think this should be not for these. That should be for the top here. Yeah, that's the one should be here. Which one I copied? Okay. Subtitle and title should be call, and the one should be phone, and the third one should be working hours, and let's say working hours. And for the working hours, we need to pass the hours we are working. Should be Monday till Saturday. Should be 10, let's say 10:00 a.m. and it will be starting from 7:00 a.m. So morning till to it's not a.m., should be, let's say, p.m. So morning 10 to evening 7 p.m. And after that, how many we just finished? We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we need 1 more. So should be altogether it will be 4. And the last one, it will render the properties of that email us. Not like that, should be email us. Let's say email us. And here we're gonna pass our dummy email, which is going to be toulouse@gmail.com. Okay, so now we are going to having the properties done here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna render the properties the way it will be structured, so in that way it can be looks perfect. So we'll go in a different motion. What I'm saying, we can make this one, you see the data structure, we can just generate with a simple structure property, so that you're gonna learn how to create those also. So in the div, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply map through the data.map, and here in the map we're gonna grab the item, and also I'm gonna grab the index to give the like for the property of that key. So here I'm gonna render one contact from contact item. Okay, so I can also create that one here. So it should be const contact item, and it will be a simple contact item which is going to be returning a value. First I'm gonna just return a div, and here it's say, let's say test. Okay, so it should be providing 4 tests. You see the 4 test data is running here. So first in the contact item, we're gonna provide like the key, which will be an index key. The key, it will be there, and then we're gonna also pass the icon, which is going to be the icon as a item.icon. We're gonna pass the title, which is going to be item.title, and also you're gonna pass that content, which should be item.subtitle. These 3 things going to be passing there. Right now, before passing that, we can also pass the interface, to grab the properties. And by the way, I think no need to pass the interface if we are going the similar properties, right? So instead of writing that icon title, I think we can also pass the subtitle, so the same properties we can combine. So here we can just pass that icon, we can pass the title, we can pass the subtitle, which is going to be passing as similar like a props. Now here again, I'm not saying you can do in that way. There is a lot of others way you can do it. It's just to giving you a smooth transitioning flavor by which you can do something different. Now here on that div, I'm gonna make it as a grid. So the grid column should be 2 by default, and MD grid columns, I think, yeah, by default I'm gonna keep 2. LG grid column should be 4, and also gap should be 8, and I'm gonna pass a border of B. So right now you're gonna see this ratio is rendering. Okay, cool. So as we are coming here for this property, I'm gonna just put a class name, make a flex item should be center. I'm gonna put a gap of 3. I'm gonna make it as a group, and also hover should be bj gray of 50, not like that, gray of 50, and I'm gonna make a padding of 4. And remember, we have the property transitioning of colors. I think no need that one. Yeah, we can transition colors because the color should be changed. You see, on hovering, it's changing the color pattern. Okay, So right now, instead of this one, we can pass simply the icon properties. So the icon would be rendered very much simple way. So if we hover, you see the icon properties is changing correctly. Then we're going to have a div which will be having a h3 icon, h3 tag, which will take that title, and after h3 a p tag which will take the subtitle. So both data is aligned. Now what we're going to do in that div, let's put a class name. I'm going to make it a font of semi bold just to be keeping in exact motion. And also we can do the property value font. If we make the font of semi bold, we can make the text of gray of 900, and whenever you're going to group in the hover, text should be dark color, maybe, yeah. And also we're gonna make that transition on the colors for all together. That's the one. I think that's not the one that should not be here. That's taking for both of the item. It should be only for that h3 tags we have. So the h3 tag gonna capture that. And for the p tag, it should be class name. Text should be, let's say, gray of 600, and text should be sm. Empty should be 1, just providing a margin top properties. And then whenever we just group hover, the text should be gray of 900, and transition should be colors. That's it. So I think we created the same scenario which we happen to be at the top. So right now, after passing the top portion, it's the time to create the bottom portion here. And for the bottom layer, it will also go in a very simple manner. I'm gonna grab a div here, and on the div, that should be like a 4 divs, right? Into 4. So how it should be 4? Let's see, we can calculate. 1 with the logo, 2 quick links, categories, and the newsletter. So that's how it gonna calculate together. So to go in the first div, we will just first capture the logo, and the logo, we will pass the logo as the loose. So we should be generate our logo properties here. You see, it's combining. Now, first thing first, in that div layer, put a class name. Padding y should be 12. Padding y should be 12. I'm gonna make it a grid. Grid call should be 1, and md grid, let's say, calls of 2, and lg grid calls of 4. Put a gap of 8. That's it. So should be the padding align property also coming. And then I'm gonna put a p tag, should be saying discover carted font. I think we can make that a lorem of 35. Oh, not that much. Lorem of 30. Yeah, just some dummy random text. I think 30 is too much. We can just make in a very limited edition. I think that much is enough. Yes. Or instead of that, we can make this much. Okay. So for this proportion, and also we can render our social media here. Social media, you see, so entire social media properties going to be rendered, but this one we can fix because our media can also take the class name by default itself. So put a class name space y should be, let's say, 4 as psc space y4, just providing that vertical gap align. Now for the p tag, put a class name, and here text should be gray of 600, and text should be small text. And after that, for the social media, we would also pass the class name. Text should be dark color with a 60% opacity. So you can see a little bit dark effect is going on. And also we're going to pass the icon class name, which is going to be, let's say, you're going to pass a border, which will be dark color with a 60% opacity. Also hover, border should be, let's say, dark color. And also on hover, text should be dark color. And for the tooltip class name, I'm going to make the background color should be dark color, and text should be white. So right now, after saving, if we go here, as you see, we are having toolkit, we are having everything. You can see my channel list is here. So that's the one property which we have been done here till now. So now we need to generate the other properties. So there we're gonna keep the quick links, and here we're gonna keep the categories. So we're gonna keep both together. Before keeping that both, we're gonna do the fourth number. The fourth number, it's pretty simple. The h3, it should be, let's say, newsletter, then a newsletter, then a p tag where you say subscribe to our newsletter to receive updates and exclusive offers. Okay, so that much data we're gonna inject here, as you see, newsletter. So from there we need to create this scenario, and after that we also need to be passing the from. So after the p tag we will render a from properties, so it should be a from, and that from without getting an action. So in the from we're gonna also render an input value, so should be, let's say, input, which will be imported from UI input, and in the input we're gonna pass the type. The type should be email, and also for the placeholder it should be projecting enter your email, and after that it will be a require value, put a class name. Now we can define how this input will look like, but before generating that I'm also gonna make a button which will say subscribe. And for the button type, we will render the type which will be, let's say, it will render as a submit button. So if we go back here, you see we are just looking at the proper things which need to be aligned together. Now we need to create a proper design by which from there it will be look similar like here. And to do that, you see that from or previously at the top layer, I think this one not need to anything. For h3 we can make, or yeah, I think that would be good. So the text should be, I think the base text it will be there. Font should be semi bold, and text should be gray of 900, or we can make that as a dark color, and margin bottom should be 4. So that's the, I think, classic, the top layer text here. And after that, for the p tag we will make that as a class name. Text should be gray of 600, and text should be sm, mb should be 4 of margin bottom. And for the input variable here, we're gonna make that width of full width, and px should be 4, padding y should be, let's say, 2, and we're gonna keep a border, and border should be gray of 300, and rounded should be lg. And once we focus on that, outline should be none. And then once we focus on here, also ring should be 2, and also whenever we focus, ring should be, let's say, gray of 200, and g ring, and it will be as gray of 200. So that's what the things it will rendering, you see. Now that's the button need to be aligned, and just we're gonna make a pretty fine design here, which should be full, and I'm gonna make a bg should be gray of 900. So that's the classic, or you can just make that as dark color, the same thing. And text should be white, and also padding x should be 4, padding y should be, let's say, 2, and rounded should be lg. Okay, looks promising. And after that, also hover bj should be gray of 800, and also transition should be colors. So now what is gonna happen, as you see, little bit slight combination which gonna run, and from the from we can just make that a class name, space y should be, let's say, we define as 3, just a 3 layer gap. So now if we just make it and turn it as a bigger layer, you see that looks quite good. So now to generate the other two, like the categories and also the links data, we should be able to grab the data first, because we need to create, we'll be able to create an array to get the data, and then we're gonna pass that. So first let's go in our constant file. Here we're gonna create our links and other properties, like export const should be the quick links view, const should be quick links data, and here in the data it will also be working like an array, and here we're going to pass the title, which will be our about us page, and also we're going to pass the href, which will be, let's say, / about OUT about, and after that we're going to render some more, which will be, let's say, the title, it will be contact us, and also for the href should be / contact. So like that it's gonna render. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just grab that my 3 property value, which is going to be like terms and conditions. It will go in the terms and privacy policy for the / privacy, FAQs / FAQs. So as you see, those entire things is working perfectly. If you click on the about us, going about us, contact us, okay, it's perfectly aligned. And if you go in the terms and condition, and also for having the privacy policy, and for the FAQs have a question queue and answer, you see that so that's the similar effect and design we're gonna create one by one. So that will be for the quick links provide data layer, and also for our categories. As you see, we can go through with the categories, the men's fashion and others. So we can go pretty much, we can define the categories by itself here, or we can get the categories from there. So in both way we can work, but for right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just provide a dummy categories by which it will just render our this layer. So in the categories data, we're gonna pass the title as the men's fashion. We're gonna go the men's fashion, and I think instead of men's fashion, we're gonna just go and men. Women's fashion, women, kids corner, kids, t-shirt, accessories, household / household, others and others. So that's how simple it's gonna combine. So if we go in the footer right now, we can go and map through this together and make these things to be done. So let's go at the first one. The first one, it should be the quick links, right? So I'm gonna put an h3 tag which will define quick links, and in that h3 tag we're gonna put a class name, which not, it should be class name. Font should be semi bold, text should be dark text, dark color, margin bottom should be 4. You can make a title component to render that one. It's up to you. I'm going to go in a simple way as it is possible. Now after that h3 tag, we're gonna can render an UL property, and here we will pass that quick links data dot map, and everything we're gonna take as an item, and from the item we're gonna just render one li. Or instead of going like that, you know, instead of that UL, we can just go in that like deep properties, because we need to link through all together. Then we can get the link here from the next link, and within that link we can pass the value, which will be item.title. And here, as the link is persisting, we need to also provide the href, which should be item.href. And as the title going to be different, so the key, I will provide the key, it should be item.title. So right now we should be having that our about us, contact and other properties. And for the div itself, we can make a class name space should be y, and I'm going to render it as 3 property gap. Now it's not a list item, so instead of writing that, we can make a flex, and the flex should be in column, and I'm put a gap of 3. So in that way we can just pass the value, the similar effect, the one which we are having, we can get this one right here. So right now what I'm gonna do, in that link property we will make that class name, which going to be text should be gray of 600, and also on Huber text should be dark color, and also we can make that text should be SM, font should be medium. We're gonna pass that Huber effect value right here. So right now you see that looks kind of same of it. Not kind of same, it's the same of it. Now after that, one more properties need to be shadowed through together, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just copy this entire properties from there, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, so we're gonna have a separate quick links value here. So instead of quick links, we're gonna pass it as a categories. So right here it should be our categories. So in the categories, we're gonna just render, instead of this quick links data, we will render our categories data, so you will be able to see the same franchise is going on. So right now, instead of directing putting the href mark here, we can just go through and combine within a backtick, and here we're going to pass, it will go with a / category and category, and then it going to just, we're going to pass the item, which will be our item.href. I think instead of this one, we can just make it simple, as we can just pass that value and grab that initially. So if we click here, so right now you see the category, I think category not / man. Oh, sorry. Just going to be like that. If we go here, if we just go right now, we're not finding a page because we didn't create it yet. If you go in the kids corner, you see / kids, so you can get the value and call that particular data ratio. So now if we go here and make a little bit design portion here, as you see, that's perfectly aligned, pretty good, small but quick and responsive design which we created, and it's working perfectly aligned all together. So right now, let's go and combine some page. If you see the about us and other page, and it's pretty easy to create the page, and we already created several, so we're gonna go and grab some pages here. So as you see, I'm gonna just remove all, and from the client we're going to create about page, about, and in the page it should be page.tsx, not tss, should be tsx. Okay, so let's combine that, rafce. Here we're going to render our like the about page, and everything we are going to render. Instead of this one, we can just pass that container, and here it about page. So that's one. And after about, we will create also others. We have our contact, terms, and privacy policy. And to do that, let's go in here. I think instead of doing like that, we can wrap that one, because this link should be the external link, which should be a user specific. So I'm gonna go another folder and I'm gonna just wrap it here with a, like say it's user specific, right? So no need to just go and messing around. So I can just push that within this parameter. It will ignore, but we know what kind of user activity we are happen to be keeping there. And then I'm gonna make that as a contact. So right now, as you see, if I close the user, I know this the outside link I have here in this page. .tsx rafce should be contact page, and also in the contact page we need to render our, instead of these properties, I'm gonna pass, okay, I'm just gonna simply pass the our. What's wrong here? Why it's not working? If I remove and say container, and here it will be contact page, and after contact page will be another one which will be say terms. So the terms and condition, it will go here, page.tsx rafce terms page, and instead of this, we're going to render within that a container from our container. And I think we need two more page, which will be, let's say, privacy, and in the privacy, similar page setup. So page.tsx rafce should be privacy page, and it will also going to wrap up within a container parameter. So we have pretty much all of the page. No, I believe one more, which is the FAQ. So if we go and make the folder FAQ, and here it will be rendering that page, FAQ page, and we are done. Okay, let's grab that. Okay, right now I'm gonna close all together, and as you see the structure layer in the app on the client, I have all the user centric page, If I go at the home and if I click any of that contact, I can view the contact page, about, and the terms and condition, privacy, and also the FAQ. So again, if you are facing any errors from previously done, which you are creating right now, if you are facing that you cannot like going through altogether and you just left behind, let me know in the comments. I will try to go and make the page the way it can be profitable for you. So now for the page details here, which we are rendering right here, all the details, we're gonna go at the end of the video, because remember, we need to go and fix a lot of things which we are offering in our e-commerce website. So right now, as we are having, like, we have our header, perfect design header, we have our this property, and we have our footer. So I think right now we can start working with to be generating our single product page.